the 8-week training course. We are on week 2. Last week I covered why RIMAN, why it's important, why this potentially can be an opportunity of a lifetime for you if you're able to identify it, right? This week, I'm going to kind of talk about mindset, right? Mindset kind of has to do with goal setting too, right? Some of you might ask yourself, right? Some of you that are maybe senior managers and have some people along in your team, some of you kind of quite can't put your finger on it, right? You brought somebody in, they got excited, they got motivated, they got on the Zooms, they got on the orientation and they hit manager and then they quit, right? And you're sitting there scratching your head, why did that happen? They got to manager and they just all of a sudden quit, right? And then you brought in another person and you worked with a brand new person, same thing happened. They went senior manager and then they quit, right? And you're sitting here wondering, why does that happen, right? Well, it has to do with literally setting the right goal. It has to do with goal setting. But before you teach somebody about goal setting, it's obviously having the right mindset. And really, to have this right mindset, to have the right trajectory starting, it's all about managing the right expectation from the jump, right? So today I'm going to talk about mindset, what kind of mindset to have as you build this business. What helped me stay in the game 18 years, full-time income, full-time profession, never stopped. What was it? What kind of mindset did it take, right? What kind of mindset did Mr. Timothy Her have doing this 30-year run, right? What kind of mindset did Mr. Danny Bay have for the 25 years that he's been doing this at a high level, full-time, up until now, right? It's all about having the correct mindset, right? So today, I want to talk about really the power of visions, right? 3 reasons why your vision is more important than your goals. We talk about goal setting, but you have to understand that your goal sets later correlate into your long-term vision, right? So the goal setting is, what you have to understand is, it enables you to achieve certain objectives, right? So for like I had mentioned, some people that might just go manager and quit, it was because the trajectory wasn't set right from the beginning, right? Because in their mind, all they were thinking about is, I need to go manager, I need to go manager, I need to go manager. What if they were thinking, I need to go director, I need to go director, I need to go director, right? Because of that managed expectation and goal setting wasn't properly set in place, it's easy to attack and go for the low-hanging fruit. But a lot of times, when that goal and vision and really the process of really having the GPS system to get there isn't really put in place, a lot of times you're going to see a lot of people fizzle out. And this is why Jim Rohn talks about the sower and the seeds, right? Certain seeds, they fall to the wayside. Certain seeds, the birds come and get them. Certain seeds don't meet good soil, and then there's those certain seeds that meet the great soil, meet the right opportunity, and they flourish and they go on to become great, amazing crop, right? Same thing, right? Here, you have to understand first the power of what the vision is, right? Goals are going to enable you to achieve your objectives, right? So what you have to understand is, as we do these goal settings, you have to understand that goals are going to be temporary, right? And even in the beginning, we have to train our mind that going manager is a temporary thing, going senior manager is a temporary thing, team leader is a temporary thing, meaning these are just stops at the gas station, a pit stop somewhere at a rest stop on the way to director, senior director, national director, onto your financial stability, right? So understand that goals are temporary, goals are individual, and goals are not your destination. This is what I wanted to tell you. On your goal setting, you have to understand that manager is not your destination. Senior manager is not your destination. Team leader might be a place that you might stay and rent for the year, right? But that is not your final destination, right? So how do you get vision, right? A vision, see, goals enable you to help achieve objectives, right? So that's kind of like your first faith check, right? That's the first move that, hey, maybe I can do it. Maybe this is for me. Maybe there is hope, right? But as you start hitting more and more goals and they start to evolve, you're going to start to see a bigger picture, right? And that ends up becoming your vision. And that's when you harness the vision, that's when you're able to realize your dreams, meaning your dreams can become a reality, right? So a vision is long term. People won't buy into your goals, but they will buy into your vision, right? Why? Because goals are individual, right? Maybe your goal isn't aligned with my goal. Maybe my goal isn't the same as why you started in this business, right? So people won't buy into your goals, but they'll buy into your vision. But because a vision is where somebody is a place where all of us can go, right? It's a long-term vision. It's a destination we're all striving to get to. Goals will help you realize your vision. So remember, goal setting is absolutely important, but understand that goals have to evolve into your vision. That's what's going to set the mindset to have that long-term trajectory, so you don't fizzle out at manager and you don't fizzle out at senior manager. Okay, attitude is everything. As this is pretty much non-explanatory, as you can see. there's going to be winners and losers in life, right? Some will decide to see the glass half full, and some will decide to see the glass half empty. And that's really where all the difference is going to be, right? I remember when, right before I came to RIMAN, I had a 14-year run in a skincare company. Mr. Timothy Herr and myself, we had some great accolades, to have made tens of millions of dollars in one company for 14 years, do over $1 billion in sales, and to have all of that just, I don't want to say get destroyed, but, to see, the company go a different direction and to lose all that, it was a sad goodbye before I met RIMAN. And I remember the thing that really had helped me hunker down and really just, the saying, right? Winston Churchill talks about, if you're going through hell, just keep going, get to the other side as fast as you can, right? And I think what became a lot of medicine and aid for me was during that time, during our buyout and our exit from our previous company, Mr. Timothy Herr had said something that was pretty profound. And he said, for every opportunity of a door that closes on you, there may be heartache, there may be some pain there, right? For every door that closes on you, carries an equal or greater weight of an opportunity of a door open elsewhere. But we have to be vigilant, look for it, and go find it. But seldom people do find it because they're always focused on the negative. They're focused on the baggage. They're focused on the pain. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. I wish, I would have done things differently. When in reality, you have to pay attention. When one door closes, another door opens. An equal or greater seed of value of opportunity door opening. You have to go look for it, right? And I think that's what kept me in the game. And sure enough, a week or two later, guess what happens? We get a call from our good old friend, Mr. Danny Bay, good old friend of mine from 18 years ago. And he starts talking about this K-beauty skincare makeup about to launch in North America. And he said he called us because we knew about this stuff. Well, we've been in the skincare game, right? But that's where the difference is in everything. Attitude is everything, right? If we had dwelled on the negativity, right, it would have been easy to have this. It may be possible, but it's too different. Seeing the pain, seeing the problem, letting things happen as they may, right? You don't let it happen. You make it happen. You find a way or make one, right? Under, over, or through. You are the driver of your destination, right? So don't let anybody else take the wheel. It is absolutely important to have this bulletproof mindset because this is how life works, guys. I saw a Joe Rogan podcast a year ago. He says, how many red cars did you see coming over here today? I can't name any, right? And he says, well, let me rephrase the question. For every red car you saw coming here, if I was about to give you $1,000 for every red car you saw, how many do you think you would have seen? So it's really the outlook. There's opportunity everywhere, but it's all about having the right attitude, right? So here's another thing that really blew my mind, right? Like school doesn't teach you about this. School will teach you get good grades, go to school, go to college, get a degree, go get a job, right? But the reality of the matter is, I never learned this kind of stuff in school, right? I never learned, I never heard of a class called Success 101, right? But here is what I found out in direct sales. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang around with. The people we spend time with influence us more than we realize. Look at your closest friends and family. Ask yourself, do they uplift and inspire you, or do they bring you down? Right? So if you're being raised in a negative family, right, then it's going to be easy to see more problems than you see the upside, right? So this is what he's talking about. Your environment, right? You become a byproduct of your environment, right? So negative influences can hinder our progress. Seek out like-minded individuals who share similar ambitions, right? When we surround ourselves with positive driven individuals, their energy, enthusiasm become contagious. So this is a little video snippet I want to show you. This is Brian Tracy. This gentleman also played a big role in really changing my paradigm shift of thinking, but he talks about getting around the right people. Watch this.
Around the right people. This is a key for becoming a self-made millionaire. Get around the right people. Dr. David McClellan at Harvard did studies for 25 years looking into why it is that some people succeeded greatly in life. What he found was as much as 99% of your success in life is going to be determined by what he called your reference group. Your reference group are the people with whom you habitually associate. They're the people that you associate with at work, the people you associate with home, your church, your political party, your social circle. What he found in working with people is that changing a person's reference group totally transformed the way they think. Why? It's because we are like chameleons and we absorb through the skin the attitudes, the opinions, the behaviors, the style of dress, the style of speech of the people with whom we associate most of the time.
Man, that is powerful. That's such a powerful training that literally just gave me an aha moment many, many years ago. But it's absolutely true, right? And that's why here in RIMAN, we have the team leader group, the director group, the senior director group, and ultimately the national director group, right? It is important for you guys to hit these ranks and become a part of these leadership groups, because when you seek out like-minded individuals who share similar ambitions, there's a unique synergistic magic that happens within sales organizations or competing organizations. And it goes the saying like, all boats rise with the rising tide, right? So it's kind of like, if you hang out with bodybuilders, you're bound to get buff. If you hang out with, troublemakers, you're bound to go to jail, ruin your life. If you hang out with serial entrepreneurs, you're bound to get rich, right? Because that's pretty much the entire energy you're surrounding yourself with. That's the time you're spending cultivating, thinking 24/7, what it is I need to do, what can I do to make more money, how to become successful, how to enrich my life, right? If you're around 5 people that's constantly thinking about that, right? You could think of it on a faith level, right? 2, 3 people come and name a faith can move a mustard seed can move mountains, right? Or even in plain terms, right? The law of attraction, right? Whatever it is absolutely true. It is so important and imperative to surround yourself with the right type of people. This is why when you look at my life, I'm around Mr. Tim Hearn, Mr. Danny Bay, Miss Betty Perez, some of the main people that help mold and shape my life, right? And that's what we became, because that's all we would talk about. That's all we would surround ourselves around the fire with is success. So make sure you hang around the right people, get away from around the right people, and make sure you have the right expectations controlling your emotion, right? So here I talk about the emotional roller coaster, right? Managing your own expectations as well as others, right? Have a 5-year outlook, set realistic goals, short term and long term, develop the right mental attitude. Law of averages will create a ratio for you to navigate your business. Some will, some won't, some wait. So what? Who's next? So what I mean about this emotional roller coaster, let's go back to the time when we first got started, right? Let's go back to that feeling, right? You were skeptical, doubtful, negative, but in the back of your mind and your heart, you were slightly hopeful. You took a chance on this, right? And here we are today, right? But let's go back to when you were first a brand new planner, or some of you that are brand new planners here today going through it, right? What happened? You got super motivated. You got on a Zoom call. You attacked this business with all your might, super excited, and you got motivated, right? And then the first person you called, you had verbal diarrhea, you told them all about it, and what did they say? Oh, I'm not interested. So what happens? You fall into disappointment, right? You fall into disappointment. And then you talk to your upline, and your upline gave you some hope and say, hey, well, we'll talk to somebody else. And then you were able to book a meeting, and this person came on the Zoom, but ultimately they just said not now, right? So what happened? You fell into fear, right? And then again, you followed up with another person, the person that made you disappointed. They followed through and they decided to become a planner and buy some products. You got excited again, right? So what I mean is get off the emotional roller coaster. What I'm trying to explain to you is that there's a specific method to the madness. What we learned growing up in this industry was you talk to 10, you're going to get about 1 to 3 people, right? If you're horrible, you're going to get 1. But remember, you talk to 10, you're going to get 1. And over time, you talk to 10, you're going to get 3. Over time, you talk to 10, you're going to get 4. Why? Because you're getting better as a presenter, as a leader, and you're mastering the mundane, right? So as you do this, you're going to start to realize a ratio is going to appear. Most will say no, and some are going to say yes. But the some that say yes to you, they all have what? A brand new warm market, a brand new list of people you could talk to, have brand new exposures, bring in a new clientele of people, a new list of people that's going to partner with you in the business, right? So it's all about understanding the ratio of percentages and the probability of some will say yes, some are going to say no, and understand you just need to go through the process. But going through the process is going to be one of 2 things. You earn or you learn, you earn and you learn, you earn and learn and earn and learn and earn and learn. And over time, you're going to be one of the greatest presenters. You're going to be one of the trainers on stage. Why? Because you've mastered the mundane. So as long as you master the mundane, know that there's a method to the madness. Just stay consistent. Law of averages is going to create a ratio for you. Stay off the emotional roller coaster, right? So if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough, right? It's simply this, right? If your why doesn't make you cry, that's simply not your why. I want to ask yourself, right? Just right now, okay? Take a moment, about 30 seconds to really stay with me here, okay? Take 30 seconds of your time and just be really, really intimate and ask yourself why you got started in this RIMAN business, okay? Was it for your child? Was it for your independence? Was it for to help your spouse or to get out, pay the bills? Some of you have realistic dreams, practical dreams, big dreams, visionary dreams, whatever that case may be. some of you need to ask yourself what that why is, because this is going to be the make or break mindset part of how far you're going to be able to go in this business, right? And you have to have a quantifiable why, something that's near and dear important, and something that you must get done no matter what, right? This is the type of why I want you to search for during these 30 seconds, because I want to ask you, is the challenge bigger than your why? Look at this picture. This is the best way I could put it, right? If your why isn't that strong, right? The third person to tell you, no, it's not going to work. What are you doing? You're wasting your time, discouraging you. You're probably going to quit, right? Hence the saying, it doesn't matter if people don't buy into your story, but it does matter if you buy into their story, right? And here's the thing. It's like the people you're talking to, right? Ask yourself, do you respect them? Are they at a place where you want to be in life, right? If they're not at a place where, you want to be in life, they're not there, then you need to question, some of even their judgments, right? So sometimes, it's just the boogeyman, right? But the most important part is figure out exactly why you want to achieve a goal, whether it has to do with your health, relationships, career, finances. You will be unstoppable when you can identify a reason to reach those goals that can bring tears to your eyes. The power of your why is what will power you to overcome any obstacle and achieve the seemingly impossible. Okay, let me give you a very simple example. Okay, all my moms on the call here tonight, all the mothers, right? All the loving moms, right? For those of you that have raised the child, right? Maybe some of you have already raised your children, they're older now. Some of you are going through it. Some of you are going to be parents, right? But here's something we can all relate to, right? We have this back to school promotion happening, right? When back to school happens, there's a lot of stress for a lot of parents, right? Because sometimes your child wants the newest Nike Air Jordans, right? Or there's some Nike Dunks they might want, or these limited edition, T-shirts, or whatever the case may be, right? And some of us, we're not that fortunate enough to provide everything our child wants. Some of us are limited, right? Loving parents do the best they can with what they have, right? But certain circumstances don't allow things that maybe your child might not understand, but deep in your heart, you have that buried in your heart. You want to do something for your child, right? Let's just say you figured out a way, like you figured it out, right? Let's just say you said, okay, I got to pull a list of 100 people of contacts. I got to get maybe 20, 30 to commit. And out of those 30 people, maybe 12 of them are going to show up. Maybe 4 of them are going to sign up, and maybe 5 will walk away buying a product and become a customer, right? That's what a real ratio is, right? And you're asking yourself, right? Let's just say it's July, back to school is about a month around the corner. Like, stay with me here, right? And your child is profusely asking you, he wants these $300 shoes, right? Or your daughter wants this new iPad because all of her friends got it over the summer, right? And then you knew deep down in your heart, if I did a 45-day run, right? Come hell or high water, rain or high water, whatever it is, I'm doing a 45-day run. I'm going to manage my time, do the money-making activities. All I need to do is hit this certain benchmark, right? For that one person to tell you no, is it going to stop you from achieving your goal and delivering for your child? Probably not. You'll probably run through a brick wall, right? At that point, somebody telling you no isn't going to hurt at all. Somebody telling you maybe I got to think about it isn't going to make you insecure, right? It's going to make you more anxious to get to the next person. All right, next. That's the kind of bulletproof mindset you have to have as you build this business, right? And that's why I was talking about your goals, your vision. Over time, it's going to evolve, right? But you need to keep a stranglehold on your near and dear why. Because every time you have a setback, that's when your character grows. Every time you have a step forward, that's when your business is growing. And that's why it's so important to have this mindset and not wander blindly into this business thinking one day, maybe someday I'll make it. No, you have to have a very clear conscience on your why. This is just the best picture, right? If your why is greater than any obstacle available, whatever challenge may come your way, it'll be worth staying in the game for your why, right? Just think about that, right? If you knew you just had to get through 30 or 40 sit downs for the exposures to get a certain amount of money in commissions, knowing that the ratio is going to work for you, right? And at the end of the day, the next pay run, you're going to be able to make that maybe $1,000 check, and you can go do that shopping for your child, right? That kind of a why, is it going to stop you? Is any type of a no or any discouragement going to stop you? Probably not, right? This is the mindset you have to have, okay? So if your why doesn't make you cry, just know it's not big enough. Find a big why, okay? when I first got started in this industry, my first convention, I remember the first convention I went to, this is my first convention, and I saw Mr. Danny Bay training for the first time. And this was one of the slides he was talking about. He was training on turning your dreams into a reality. And he said, this is the step-by-step way. Most people just dream and dream on and, dream their way to the grave. There's a saying, right? Uh, you know, you know, everybody dies, but not everybody lives, right? Bon Jovi, he talks about, I just want to live while I'm alive, right? It's my life, right? And in order to live a dream life, whatever goals or whatever dream you have, whatever fantasy life you have, the most important thing I learned is setting a deadline and being very, very specific about how you're going to go about meeting that deadline, right? Because when you set a deadline, it really no longer is a dream. It literally turns into a goal, right? And this is why in some of Mr. Timmer's trainings or my trainings, you always hear us talking about, in our bathroom, we have these magic markers that we write down, right? What it is that I have to do to make $1 million a month, what it is that I have to do to get to 10 million in sales a month, right? Because it is a goal, it's a plan of action, right? If you set a deadline, it is no longer a dream, it becomes a goal, right? You set a plan of action, detailed, okay, how you're going to get this done. This goes on to become a reality. So be specific about turning your dreams into a reality, right? So this is really the mind exercise Brian Tracy talks about. So let's dive into what he says, and I'll kind of cover the points.
From now on, whenever you bring on a new person, put them through this exercise. If they will not go through this exercise, do not waste a minute of your time with them, because they will never be successful if they won't follow your guidance. Here's the exercise. Take a clean sheet of paper and write down goals and today's date, and then write down 10 goals that you would like to accomplish in the next 12 months, and write them in the present tense. I earn, I achieve, I weigh, I drive such and such a car, I own. And then you take this list of 10 and you say, if I had a magic wand and I could wave this magic wand and I could have any one goal on my list within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on my life? And usually this will jump out at you. Put a circle around that goal. And that's a goal you transfer to a clean sheet of paper, and then you follow the 7 steps. Write it down, set a deadline, make a list of everything you have to do to accomplish it, organize the list into a checklist, take action, and then do something every day. If you'll just do this, nothing can stop you but yourself.
Did you see what he said? If you just do this, nothing can stop you but yourself. Pretty much, this is 90% of the cheat sheet info you need to become successful. But did you know 90% of the people aren't going to do the thing? They won't do it. In the beginning, what does he say? When you sit with a brand new person and they refuse to do this exercise, don't spend a minute with them. The reason why he says this is because it is absolutely important to go through the motion, because what you're doing is literally programming the mind. And when you program the mind, you're subconsciously making a decision to make it happen. Think about it. It's like, why would you expect your cell phone alarm to ring in the morning when you didn't program it? Think about that. Like, imagine waking up late in the morning and being so mad at your phone that the alarm didn't go off at the time you needed to wake up when you didn't program it, right? It only works if you program it. This is how the mind works, right? You're searing this into your mind. You have to be very specific, and you have to do the work and the exercises. The easiest way to do it is, I would say, in your bathroom, get a Sharpie, write down your 3, 4, 5 specific goals and your main vision of why you want to do this and become successful every day where you can see it, right? Be very detailed and specific on what it is you want to accomplish. Write down your goals where you can see it every day. Every day. I guarantee you, if you bum rush into Tim Herr's house, you go into his master bathroom, there's nothing but Sharpie graffiti all over his mirror. Same as mine, right? Visualize clearly the day you accomplish your goals. Visualize it, right? Organize your daily plan to accomplishing your goals. Have an exact date when you want to accomplish your goals. It is absolutely important to do these mental exercises, because once you program your mind, it's going to create the right muscle memory for you to take the actions when necessary. Make sure you guys follow through with this. This is going to absolutely change your life.
From now on.
All right. So breaking your self-limiting belief, right? So belief starts really when you get motivated, right? But you can't just be motivated. Jim Rohn says, what happens when you motivate an idiot, right? You get a motivated idiot, right? It's all about having the right training, having the right roadmap of action, of money-making activities that will allow you to duplicate yourself so you could create a distribution channel of leverage, right? So what this does is, when you have motivation, belief belief is cultivated, and energy and action is where you want to actually actually repeat the process as a habit, because energy and action is where the money making activities really are, right? Having the enthusiasm, having the energy, the leaning forward motion, right? Becoming a promoter, right? And taking the necessary actions of either getting on it, doing a K-pop up, getting on an opportunity, inviting people to the event, whether that is the duplication of the habit of doing the energy and action is what brings you the results. And once you hit it home again after the results, you get to another layer of belief, right? Whether it's a belief check, or after you become a team leader, there's another layer of belief that I could hit probably another level of momentum based on how consistent I am and how duplicatable I am, right? Motivation is what gets you started, but habit is what keeps you going, right? So understand that our business is actually built on the bear method, meaning from event to event to event to event. Belief, energy, action, results. Belief, energy, action, result. Everything is a pending event. This business is built on pending events, pending energy, pending action, pending results, pending belief, pending motivation, strategy, and training. Everything is a pending event, guys. So you want to build with the acronym, with the bear method. How you develop your successful mindset: make decisions quickly and stand by them, right? Most successful people, the common denominator is they take action quickly, right? They make decisions quickly, create a standard for your work and live up to it. Integrity is everything, right? It's better to tell them you don't know when you don't know, okay? Own your mistakes and create solutions, right? The more you think you know, the more you realize you don't know, right? Stay open to feedback, truly listen to it, do it for the greater good of the organization and not for ego. Accept that you don't know everything and ask for help when you need it, right? Even till this day, I'm hitting up my buddy, Mr. Tim Herr, or Mr. Danny Bay, or hitting up Betty, or Miss Angie Troilo, or even some of our directors, right? If you don't know, just ask, right? Celebrate others and acknowledge their wins. Why? Because when it comes time for your turn, you want people celebrating your success too, right? There's the saying, right? I could build the biggest building than everybody else, or I could be the biggest building by tearing everybody else down, right? You get to choose. Have empathy and demonstrate kindness, right? Lead with compassion. There are certain people that are not a part of Team 1%, and that's okay too. We're here to help everybody because at the end of the day, we are here for our own dreams, but also we're all on the same team, and it's the Jersey team is what? Team RIMAN, right? So make sure you guys demonstrate kindness, be presidential, be a leader. And also, the greatest investment you can make in yourself is personal development, guys. I can't stress this enough. You have every single tool available at your disposal, right? I hate sitting down and reading. I can do it, right? I can do it, right? If I have to, I'll suck it up and I'll do it. But I would rather do an audio program in my car, right? An audio book, right? And over the years, I've taken advantage of a lot of audiobooks, and it just expanded my mind, right? Some of these books I want to recommend to you guys is a book called Think and Grow Rich, right? Napoleon Hill interviewed some of the most successful people of our time, some of the greatest oligarchs of the world, and he brought in a common denominator, right? Some of the energy, the decision making, right? I want you guys to take the time to read this or buy the audiobook, turn your car into a classroom. Some of these songs that we listen to ain't going to pay you residual income, but this stuff is going to help build your residual income, right? Listen to this over and over again. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he talks about why the average individual with a big appetite to make money, network marketing is for you, right? The Richest Man in Babylon, right? He talks about learn to pay yourself first. It's a mental exercise. Whatever money you make, learn to pay yourself first. And after you pay yourself a certain percentage, make it work with what you have, right? And he became the richest man in Babylon. And as you know, we also have the legendary Larry Thompson that's created some of the most millionaires of our time in our industry. It's great learning from some of the storytelling. And as you know, Mr. Jim Rohn, he has an amazing platform. He is one of the greatest motivational speakers of our time. He has this audiobook called Building Your Network Marketing Business. This is literally the ABC to the 1, 2, 3. I used to listen to this probably every day for a single year, right? And it helped me grasp the concept and the mindset of a successful network marketer. He goes in detail and talks about really from the viewpoint of a successful, hardworking network marketing professional. So I really want to encourage every single one of you to really get into personal development, because some of you might go on to do really well in our industry, but some of you might go on to do very well in other industries because of the personal development and the aha moments you get here, right? But the most important thing, the most valuable thing that network marketing can deliver to you is the paradigm shift, right? So what is a paradigm shift? A major change in the worldview, concept, and practices of how something works, thinks, is accomplished, right? So it's literally changing the way you think. The way you thought the world was is not, and it's a new outlook and view and point of view of the world before you, right? So a paradigm shift has to come into your life in order for you to become wealthy, right? Because, that's why they say, hence, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, hoping for different results, right? You need a paradigm shift, right? So invest into yourself. So here's the call to action on my training. It's the handful of new recruits that can make or change your career. It is easier to give birth to new life than raise the dead. Every leader's business was once in a slump, but how they overcame it was that they focused on finding a handful of new recruits. Why? Because they got a brand new, fresh list, a brand new warm market of people that trust you. They're probably interested in K-beauty, that want to know more about K-beauty, that won't hesitate to buy affordable luxury, right? So the call to action is make it an effort to sponsor 10 Frontline. Everybody that goes wide 10 Frontline, they're all doing very, very well financially. We actually did like a simulation and a test run. Take my word for it. Avoid all the mistakes the leaders made and take advantage of all the right decisions the leaders made before you. Make sure you guys sponsor 10 Frontline, become a sponsoring machine. So with that said, I will be ending our mindset training for this week today.